welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, January 28th, 2016. If you want to follow us on Twitter, please go to CATEX TV. We announced earlier in the week that the big insurer American International Group had boosted its loss reserves by some $3.6 billion because they had suffered some adverse development in casualty, financial lines, and its runoff business. Everybody began to collectively hold their breath because it was certain that the ratings agencies were going to respond. They did indeed. Moody's was the first one out, downgrading AIG's P&C operations financial strength rating from A1 to A2. Later in the evening, AM Best came out saying that it had put the company under review with negative implications. The agency was particularly concerned that 41% of the strengthening related to accident years 2011 to 2013, on which financial results had already been given, indicating only favorable or mostly adverse developments. Now, indeed, they had to bolster it. AIG's ratings will remain under review now until Best has had a chance to look at management plans, which include the $1.6 billion reduction in expenses as well as the IPO of up to about a 20% stake in its mortgage insurance business. American Airlines Flight 109 yesterday, bound from Heathrow Airport to Los Angeles International, had to turn around about 2.5 hours into the flight. The plane was over Iceland. It was a Boeing 777. One member of the cabin crew fainted and 5 other people complained of feeling unwell. They made an announcement on board the plane asking if there were any medical professionals on board. It's unknown whether anybody responded. About 5 hours after the plane took off and returned to London, immediately emergency personnel got on board and began to sample the air. All of the passengers safely disembarked and the luggage was taken off the plane. It's unclear as to what caused the illness at this point. The big Italian insurance company based in Trieste, Generali, which has just lost its CEO, Mario Greco, to Zurich Insurance, said that it does not intend to wait to replace him. They intend to name a new CEO by mid-February. According to Reuters, the internal candidates have the best possibility so far. This would be the Italian head of business, Philippe Donnet, or the group chief financial officer, Alberto Minali. So we'll see what happens with them. Last weekend's big blizzard, which struck the eastern part of the U.S., will likely cost insurers billions of dollars in losses, and in fact, the losses to the insurance industry might exceed that of Superstorm Sandy. According to the Weather Channel, they predict that the storm will have an economic loss of about $1 billion and insured losses of over $500 million. The storm caused considerable flood damage as well, that some experts say far exceeds the record of Superstorm Sandy's flood damage back in 2012. According to Aon Benfield, when combining the actual physical damage to residential and commercial properties, plus automobiles and infrastructure, and adding in business interruption costs, we're potentially looking at one of the costlier winter storm events in recent memories. Flood insurance is not covered by insurers. It's covered by the National Flood Insurance Program if homeowners are savvy enough to have purchased flood coverage. The World Health Organization announced earlier today that it's going to convene an emergency meeting to try to find ways to stop the transmission of the Zika virus, which they say is now spreading, quote, explosively across the Americas. The general director of the WHO said the level of alarm is extremely high, as is the level of uncertainty. We need to get answers quickly. Brazil is currently the epicenter of the Zika virus, and officials are investigating a link between the virus and a rare brain defect in infants, as well as a nervous system syndrome known as Guillain-Barré syndrome. Well, the Russian economy is under the lash right now from 2 years of sanctions by the West over their actions in the Ukraine, as well as its failing economy, as well as some would say its corrupt economy presided over by Vladimir Putin. But last month, the country was set to surpass a post-Soviet record in oil production. The production of Russian crude oil is on track now to reach a shade under 11 million barrels a day. They have no choice but to keep pumping, even at these reduced oil prices, because they need the cash. It has been a source of great consternation for OPEC. Russia is not a member of OPEC and does not align its prices with OPEC. However, OPEC, given the fact that the Russians produce so much oil, realized that it's impossible to get a consensus on global oil production if the Russians don't participate. So they use that, the Saudis in particular, to protect market share. They use that excuse to continue to pump as much as they can. Now the Russians have indicated that they may, in fact, coordinate their pumping plans with OPEC. That decision is going to be made sometime next month. Meanwhile, as we reported, the situation in Bermuda insofar as fresh foodstuffs is becoming somewhat critical. 2 supply ships are racing their way to Bermuda as we speak and are expected to dock sometime tomorrow. Signs in supermarkets are up in the vegetable and fresh fruit section saying that the boat is coming. Please be patient. One of the perils of living in an island, but at least they don't have snowbanks 15 feet high within eyesight. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.